This is volume 2 of the Akiracast with Whooper, that's me, and Mario.
Hello, guys.
Talking about volume 2 of the classic series that we started a while ago. What we're recording right now, which is like mid-November, I don't know when you'll hear it exactly, since I'm going to combine all the recordings that have to do with volume 2, same as I did for volume 1. It'll come out when it comes out. You don't have to worry about it. For now, we're going to talk about chapters 7 through 9 on akiramanga.com. So that's the Epic Comics version. And after being kind of bored and disappointed with the previous chapters, like the 2 chapters before this one, I feel like it bounced back a little bit here.
Yeah, it's just by a little bit. I think the story kicks off where it's left off at volume 1, and I think it's gonna be the trend. This is like one very long continuous story that we see so far.
Yep.
And what had improved for you, though?
I did like the scenes where Kei was trying to kill Tetsuo, where she was being controlled by Kyoko. I feel like Kei makes a pretty good action hero, and she was like it makes a difference for, because this is a manga about people with psychic powers. So the more powerful they are, the less you can relate to them, I guess. The less you empathize with them.
Yep.
So for a character like Kei to be having those powers, she's probably the closest thing that the audience has to a surrogate in Akira, because everybody else is, I don't know. I mean, everybody else is not quite so likable, maybe.
Yep.
To see her take on that role of being the psychic who can like walk through walls and everything was more gripping, I think, than usual in terms of Akira's like action. I just think she fits the role pretty well. Although, of course, we learn that she's being controlled, and that's kind of evident from the very beginning.
I think it takes a while for her to realize that she be controlled by the 3 children, though, and I think for me that's a plus, because the story is kind of like we kind of follow the beat of the story so far, so it have a very little moment of element of surprise, but that one was a surprise.
Yeah, because for a moment you do believe that she's she's like spontaneously gained psychic powers, or it could even occur to the reader that, oh, perhaps she's had them all along, and she's been hiding them, but now that she's been captured, she needs them to break out.
Yep. For me, it's just like she encountered something that temporarily help her gain the psychic powers. What I didn't expect was she was basically just got her what they call it, she got her mind controlled by them as well, so she didn't like even aware of she being controlled.
Yeah, because when she comes to in the armory with Kaneda, she's like, you did something to me, didn't you? And I mean, she has every reason to suspect that, because Kaneda is not the most morally upstanding individual.
Yep.
But the story has kind of taken a few leaps forward now, so they're in territory beyond just Kaneda, being a kind of a loose cannon. Tetsuo is making his way towards Akira, and he's doing it pretty quickly. It doesn't take him long between getting the idea to go see Akira and actually doing it. And I think that's another thing that was kind of refreshing about these chapters, like this half of volume 2, is that that's exactly what you would expect if someone has his level of godlike power, and especially if they come to master it so quickly. Whatever it is they want, they're going to use their power to get, and they're not going to beat around the bush to do it. Like if he wants the colonel to shut up, he's going to, exert his will over him and force him down to the ground and grind his forehead against the the stone floor.
Yep. Yep.
So it felt, Tetsuo felt like a really credible threat. This isn't just this kind of the somewhat silly gang violence that's like clown themed from the first volume.
Yep.
This is more, the story can be taken a little bit more seriously at this point, I feel, because he's making his way towards Akira, which is who bears the name of the entire manga, and who apparently was involved somehow in the beginning of World War III due to his immense power. So this is, serious mode.
Yep. What interesting about the whole thing is that Tetsuo, like when Canada and Kay come to him with the laser gun and try to shoot him, try to kill him off, he actually still being scared of Canada. So I think subconsciously, even though that he get the power, he still feel that Canada is the biggest threat for him.
Yeah, I mean that speaks, I guess, to like his inferiority complex, the resentment that he probably always had for Kaneda, which he could only kind of rebel against once he got these powers. I remember when we were talking about Volume 1 over the course of reading those 6 chapters, I was kind of making the point that, well, we don't really understand or see demonstrated his resentment for Kaneda's leadership. It just, once he gets the psychic powers, all of a sudden we learn, oh, he really didn't like following this guy very much at all. And now he's going to take it out on him.
Yep.
So I didn't, that wasn't quite like the most believable character dynamic. But the manga's not backing down from it. It's keeping it consistent, because like you said, he is afraid of Kaneda still. He still views him as like his rival and his opponent. I feel like there's probably this manga was serialized in the early 80s through the mid 80s, I think. And it's a shonen manga. So the whole concept of like a destined rival in shonen manga, I'm sure this like Akira is adhering to that. So Kaneda and Tetsuo are always going to be battling against each other no matter what the circumstances are, because they're destined rivals. And when you look at it from that perspective, it seems to be a decent version of that premise.
Yeah, but what a douchebag Canada is.
Pretty much.
The first reaction, the first reaction when he see Kay is that he tried to kiss her, and then when he got to when she bring him to when she put the laser gun, and she said like kill Tetsuo. The first reaction he said that okay, I kill him.
I'm on board.
I'm on board. This guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, after their encounter in the warehouse, I can understand that. Like, it's true that Kaneda is a very kind of loose character. He's kind of, we're meant to find humor in a lot of his antics and his reactions to things, and he is like he just lives according to his desires, So whenever he's obviously got the hots for Kay, so whenever he sees her, he's going to make that clear. If he wants to get revenge on someone or to kill them, he's going to make that clear. If he's hungry, he's going to make that clear. It's just he just lives very honestly and openly, I suppose. And that's it's not necessarily a bad thing, at least when you're talking about traits that a protagonist might have. Is he like an upstanding person, somebody who you'd want in your corner in real life? No, but this is a manga about people with psychic abilities in weird floating chairs. So, not real life. Thank goodness.
Yeah. The thing is, will Tetsuo will awake Akira this time? And I think the plot gonna be very much different when Akira awakes.
Well, that's the thing. Like we are very shortly gonna dive. I mean, I've seen the film once before, but it's been ages. I don't remember the details of
Yeah,
it.
I
At least
think
not
I'm
very
gonna be
well.
not very well either.
So I don't know if we've already significantly deviated from the manga, or if we're about to when Tetsuo encounters Akira. I don't know if he's going to wake him up or if he's going to fail or what exactly is going to happen. Which is a good, it's a good place to be in, not knowing what's going to happen next and kind of being left in suspense, being, curious as to how the manga will follow up on these chapters. Because you kind of have a lot of the characters converging in the same location. The colonel and all his military guys are headed towards the sewage treatment plant, which is a place that Ryu, that's his name, right? The guy who's disguised
Ryu.
as a construction worker. Ryu has been staking it out, and Kaneda and Kei are also headed there. So many characters, many elements of the story, they're all converging on one place, and that, that's a kind of a recipe for engagement,
That's right. I got to say that is gonna be like the first climax of the story so far, whereas everyone is heading the same place with the threat being Akira will be awakened or not, because it's gonna change the rest of the story going forward, and I hope he being awake.
What I mean, how could he possibly if Akira being awakened is supposed to be, it's supposed to usher in some sort of cataclysm or something. How could it possibly happen this early in the manga?
Well, yeah, maybe what they have to do is what happened afterward when Akira awake, because he had to be he had to be present, right? He had to be consciously awakened and wreak havoc before everyone trying to bring him down. So
yeah, but how could that happen so early?
Yeah, is it still early? It's like volume 2 already,
Out of 6, and he's when he wakes up, it's supposed to be like the world might end. How are you going to end the world in volume 2 or 3 out of 6 volumes?
That makes sense, but then again, Eva, the movies, I think they end the world as like the second movies, and they still going on for like 2 more movies.
What is this, Eva?
Yeah, Eva. The what is it? It's a little anime that that no one heard of.
Okay. I don't know anything about it. I don't think.
All right.
But I mean, you can tell a story about what happens after the end of the world, like Wall-E, or there are many other apocalyptic films that you could reference. Yeah. But the nature of the apocalypse, that's like, for example, that's predicted by Lady Miyako, who we meet at the start of this volume. Nezu, the guy whose name means rat, who sometimes meets with Ryu, goes and seeks an audience, or is summoned to meet Lady Miyako, and she says, "Oh yes, a grim future is coming up. Like there's going to be disaster, and there's nothing you can do about it." I don't know. It makes it seem like, at least from her perspective, or perhaps Nezu's, since he put some stock in her opinion, everybody's going to die, and it's going to be Akira who does it. And if that's what his character is meant to represent, or the threat that he poses, I just don't see how Tetsuo could possibly be successful at this early point in the story.
Yep. That interesting. What Lady Miyako fit into this story?
I don't even remember her from the film.
I don't remember her either. And this is like her first appearance in the manga, right?
Right, but we see that on her hand, on her palm, she has the number 19. So she's one of the psychic children, or she was, or whatever. So whatever predictions that she's making are not just completely unfounded. They're not just guesses. She can probably sense the future like Kyoko can. So whatever she sees, you know, it may or may not come to pass, but there's at least reason to think that it could.
Yep.
And
That's,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, I assume they wouldn't just introduce a character like that and then sideline her for the rest of the story, especially because she's got the number on her palm. So now we know number 19, that's her. Numbers 26 and 27, they're the two guys. Takashi, and I can't remember the other one. 28 is Akira, we've just learned. And 41 is Tetsuo. So I wonder how many other numbers we're going to encounter.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe maybe a majority of them have been died already because they being like frail,
Right.
Compared to like normal person. But yeah, so before Tetsuo, they missed only like 40 of this guy before. And it's interesting to me that Akira was not number 1; he was number 28.
Right. Well, that makes sense because their experiments probably wouldn't be able to produce someone as powerful as Akira right away.
Right off the bat, yeah.
But they even after Akira, they did 12 more, and now Tetsuo is the 13th after Akira, being number 41. So I guess they didn't learn their lesson.
But Akira number is also around the same with the two guys. So I think it's high probability that they know each other before, and they might be in the same, facilities, the same treatment before, experiment before.
Yeah, I would say so, and we'll probably get some flashbacks to whatever time that they shared in that creepy nursery-looking place with the bear's mouth that serves as like a hallway leading into it, and the painted floor that looks it's just weird. It's a strange place. Definitely an effective design for a place that makes you is supposed to set you at ease, but actually makes you uncomfortable. Yeah, we'll get that flashback soon enough.
More to come
after Akira awakes, I guess. Be that in the next chapter, be that in the next volume, or whenever it comes.
Yep. We shall see.
Yep. So we'll be back talking about Akira again in a couple weeks, and if you're listening to this right now, we'll start talking about it in a couple seconds.
All right. See you until the end.
Bye. We're back with part 2 of volume 2 of Akira. Your pronunciation will depend on probably when you watched the film first. If you rented it from Blockbuster in the 90s, then you probably say Akira. I guess it doesn't matter too much how you pronounce it. We're just talking about the manga. So this is going to be in the Epic Comics version, which is the color version, chapters 10 and 11, which takes us to the end of volume 2.
Oh, is it the end of volume 2 already?
Yeah, it actually is. So
interesting.
The first 3 volumes, at least in the Dark Horse version, I'm not even sure if the Epic Comics version separates itself into volumes. But in the Dark Horse version, it's just the first 16 chapters of the Epic Comics version that comprise the first 3 volumes. And volume 2 ends at chapter 11.
Right.
All the different, publishers who've put it out and numbered things differently make it kind of confusing, but basically the first 3 volumes are shorter and the last 3 are longer. So gonna look forward to that.
I think it makes sense why they want to stop the volume at these chapters, because here's like the big thing reveals. So we got like the awaken of Akira, of the titular characters.
Right. Yeah, I think we were talking last time about whether it was going to take a long time for him to wake up or not.
Yeah.
I can't remember which of us was arguing for which.
Yeah, I remember, like, I think it would take a while. Or something.
Was it you who said that, or was it me?
I think it's you who said that, actually. You who said it would take a while because it's like just volume 2, so there can be 4 more volumes of Akira Awake. And
I was completely wrong because he's already awake.
yeah, that very interesting because uh the manga just take no punches. It just like just go, like I think it's like on the process of like accelerating and doesn't have any sign to stop.
Yeah, it really, these two chapters really are just nonstop action.
Yeah,
I mean, even the scientist guy who, at the end of chapter 9, or
nice.
somewhere in chapter 9, was like, "Here, hey, Kaneda, K, quick, this way.
Yep,
Hurry up. You don't have a choice. You got to come with me or else you're going to be, discovered and kidnapped." Even he gets into a knife fight with
yep,
Ryu's friend. And
yep.
we don't even have context for that, do we?
I don't think so. He might be one of the guy from the resistance before, but I might be wrong on that.
Who,
Uh,
the scientist guy with
the
the
scientist guy,
glasses and everything?
yeah. Was he the same one with the police who often uh come to the bar and who like
Oh,
signals.
who was like, yeah, who was spying on Kaneda and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was he the one? I don't think so
You
because
might.
this.
I'm not sure. You might be right. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, because Canada would have realized, right?
Well, I don't think Kaneda ever got a good look at him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He was kind of in his own little place on that elevator thing.
yeah. Because that that cop who spy on others, when he walks out, he encounter one of the guy from the resistance, and I think he been knife. So I
Oh,
think
then it's
that's
got to be him, right?
yeah. So I think that's got to be him who record that, and who do the knife fight with that guy now.
Right.
That
Yeah,
my
dude,
that's my whole theory anyway.
I mean, that has to be the case because otherwise this knife fight, I mean, we're cutting back and forth between, different like character pairings and stuff
Yep.
as Tetsuo is contributing to Akira's awakening by like busting open that dome with his psychic abilities. Um, and everybody's embroiled in some sort of plot, and there's the hovercraft vehicles that are people like they're running out of gas. People are having a difficult time controlling them. And then there's the colonel who's like yelling at his scientists because they can't keep the dome under control. And then there's Kaneda and Kei
Yep.
who are hiding out behind that little grate. Um, and they go through like a ventilation shaft or something.
Yep.
So we're cutting back and forth between all these little miniature plots, and then just some random guy with glasses is having a knife fight with one of Ryu's friends. That wouldn't make any sense at all. So yes, it must have been based on their previous encounter
Yeah.
at that bar where Kaneda used to have meetings with his gang.
Yeah. Because yeah, it just pop up my head actually just its name that they might be the same guys, but I think
Probably
it makes
so.
sense. Yep.
I've just while I was saying all that, I was scrolling through. Oh wait, yes, it is. I see him
Right.
in chapter 5. That's him. He doesn't have his glasses on, but that's definitely him.
All right.
Same guy.
And he got knifed by real friend, I suppose, at that time.
I don't remember whether that happened or not. I guess so. And maybe that's why he's using a knife for revenge,
Yep.
like using the weapon that he was injured with in order to like
Yep.
an eye for an eye basically.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right,
Okay.
well, now I understand that. So they're just one of the many sets of characters that we keep cutting back and forth between. I
Yeah.
mean, the way that these chapters are laid out, it's very much like a big action movie with a huge cast.
Yeah,
It
I
just
agree.
keeps going back and cutting back and forth between them, and probably like if this were made into a film, obviously it was, but it wasn't a one-to-one adaptation. If you were to adapt this exactly as it's laid out in the manga, there would probably be a music track that would stretch for a long time that helps with the transitions between the scenes, and of course all the onomatopoeias, like
Hmm.
the sound effects and stuff, would certainly be used for a similar purpose because there's tons of those in all the different panels. Like the groaning of the dome, for example. There's
Hmm.
a lot of like gong 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 type
Yep. Yep.
sound
Yep.
effects that are part of the illustrations. and I'm sure that all the different scenes would have that sound kind of echoing through them.
Yep. Yep.
So in that way, it's all pretty well laid out, even though it is kind of like the direction of it is a little bit frantic because of the continuous cutting.
Yep.
But there would be ways they could make it work.
I do believe it is like the very first climax of the manga, based on the fact that like every important characters is in here.
Yeah, that's true.
At the same time, and the awakening of Akira, we do get a lot of cool panels of Tetsuo, the one right at the very end, where he
The
loses
one where
out.
his left arm is all like
Yep,
ripped up and
yep.
falls off of his body.
I think it's look iconic, man.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's like so detailed. You can
Even
imagine that
yep,
like a lot of comic book readers in Japan probably hadn't seen something like that before.
yep, that's right. And even with the people, with the people who isn't on that event, like Miyako, we still got like a cut back and forth between her from time to time.
Right, Lady Miyako and Nezu.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so she gets a little line of dialogue about no one was able to like avert the catastrophe or stop the future.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, so and she also can see far enough into the future herself that she says to like one of her servants or one of her I guess servants is the word. She
Yep.
says we don't need to leave right now. We can stay a little while longer before we're put into danger.
Yep.
So I don't know. I guess maybe that's a way of signaling to the reader
Mm.
that like no, there's not a nuke that's about to go off.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Even though the government, there's some line in there as well about like the government viewing what's happening as like a greater threat than a nuke because they
Yep.
upgrade to like danger level 7
Yep.
or
Yep.
something.
Yep.
So I don't know if there's some sort of weird commentary there about the government overreacting. Um,
I think it's just straightforward that Akira is like consider uh the greater threat that the Duke.
right. But Miyako knows, ostensibly,
Yep.
she knows that, things aren't going to blow up just yet.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know. Like, is she going to play a greater role in the
I
in the
hopefully because
future?
I don't really remember her on the in the anime films at all.
I'm not sure that she was in it. Honestly, I
Oh,
don't. Yeah,
all right.
I don't remember her. Yeah, they really truncated the plot
Yep.
for the
Yep.
film version, but they had to because the as we've pointed out multiple times while doing these episodes, the manga just runs like continuously. It starts the story and it just like doesn't let up.
Yep.
The characters are always either embroiled in some bit of action or they're traveling to the next place where there will be an action scene.
Yep. That's right.
So that you can't make a film about a 38 volume manga that's written that way. At least not if you include everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Miyako may have been a casualty of the adaptation. But yeah, it does kind of seem to me like she'll be a key figure in whatever resistance movement arises to oppose Akira
Yep.
because she's already described him as like a calamity, like a disaster waiting to happen. And she's part of some sort of organization that's like focused around her.
Yep.
So that seems like the sort of plot where she may join forces with other people, and then she'll have like manpower to bring to the table.
The very interesting fact that even when Akira awake, we still, like for now, we still haven't heard anything from him or any reaction
Right.
at all, except for he just get exposed to the sun, and that's your comment on that. And I think the fact that we haven't seen his face at all, we see it from afar, but he appeared to be like at young age compared to others of his French college who face appear old, but it's like 30 years, right?
30 years? What about
since
oh yeah, since
since
World
he
War Three.
yeah since he's asleep.
Right. Yeah, and the reason for that, the reason he looks so young is probably because he's been kept in that like cryogenic chamber,
Yep, yep,
and
yep,
that slowed his aging.
yep. So yeah. So interesting that we see him. We see like the fear from everyone else around, but not uh we doesn't have any clue about Akira for now.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense to me. Like they would want to keep him a mystery. They don't want him
Yep.
talking right away and being like, "Hi, I'm Akira. I am X years old, and these are my hobbies."
And it's time to end the world.
Yeah, definitely not that either. Yeah,
Yep.
uh, yeah, he has to stay a mystery, and he's not going to fall immediately into Tetsuo's hands either, because that's the way that Chapter 11 ends.
Yep.
Is
Why
Kay
literally?
goes back to save him.
Yeah, why literally? Because Tetsuo hands had been ripped off.
Right. Yeah, he can't fall into Tetsuo's hands. He
Yeah.
could fall into his hand, singular.
Yep. Yep.
But
So
it also it works out very well that it was plotted this way,
yep.
because Tetsuo is the only character who could have gotten him out of there. Nobody else has the ability. Well, I mean,
Right.
the
Yep.
military could just let him go, but obviously they're not going to do that.
Yep.
But it's not like the resistance movement, for example, Ryu, Kei, Kaneda. They, you know,
They
they
don't,
couldn't get Akira out.
and even they don't have a clue what Akira is.
Right, that's true. Even if they figured out where he was, which Kei does by looking at like a map.
Yep.
She sees that little map with the number 28 kind of in the center of a whole bunch of like rooms.
Yep.
And they learned that Akira is number 28 from the confrontation between Kaneda and Tetsuo in the nursery with the
Yep.
laser gun.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So they knew he was number 28, but yeah, they don't know exactly what he is, and they couldn't have even approached that dome. Probably it would have been too cold. Tetsuo's the only one who can get close.
Yep. Yep. That's
The
true.
colonel makes a remark at one point, like, "How is he still alive? How can he
Yep.
survive those temperatures?"
Yep. So so far there's one characters who confirmed dead, or it's not confirmed yet, but I don't think he survived. That is the scientist.
Yeah, there's the scientist guy. There's also the guy he was fighting with, who falls backwards onto that like sharp piece of metal.
Oh, okay, okay, yep.
When they were fighting, he
No, no,
like
no,
gets
no, no,
pushed
not
backwards.
sorry, not that scientist. The old guy who
Oh, that guy.
yep, he's
Right.
yep,
The scientist who was like primarily in charge of overseeing Tetsuo when he was first brought to the facility.
that's right.
Yeah, I keep thinking of the spy
Yep, yep,
who
yep,
was
yep,
hanging around the bar. I keep thinking of him as a scientist just because he's wearing like a white lab coat
yep.
or just a white coat in general and has glasses on. Of course, that's a very sciencey thing, is to wear glasses. Everyone knows this.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, not him. I mean, he could be dead, or Ryu's friend that he was fighting with could be dead. But the scientist guy is
Yep,
almost certainly dead.
yep. So, yep.
Not a very high death count so far for you know
For
for a story
what's
where
yeah,
this entire facility is like under siege, and these terribly low temperatures that will kill you if you get close enough
yeah,
are like wreaking havoc on the whole, I don't know, temperature balance of the entire place, and everyone's like scrambling to get out and trying not to collide with each other on their hovercrafts.
yeah.
Um,
But it's just the
there probably
beginning.
have been more deaths. They're just not characters that
Yeah,
we know.
yeah. But maybe it's just a beginning. So uh, when Akira get full power, he might like wreak havoc again. But the question remains: who is or what is Akira, and like he is friend or foes, who or he just like an entire like different being like Jesus. He can decide. Who knows?
Is he some sort of like demigod?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, he's seeing as he's number 28. I think he's probably just a kid who was experimented on and had really strong psychic powers as a result, and probably couldn't control them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's why he
That
basically like set off a nuke
yeah.
with his power somehow.
All right, that make him no different than Tetsuo then. So we will see the parallel between them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's implied that he is very similar to Tetsuo in that he just responded extremely well, or I mean, depending on your perspective, you could say extremely poorly
Yeah, yeah,
to the treatment, like the experimentation. And so he gained an immense amount of power as a result. And I mean, the doctor, the one who dies, the actual literal doctor,
yeah,
not the sciencey glasses wearing guy, he says to the colonel, like the reason that Akira is awakening is because he's responding to Tetsuo's like specific wavelength
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something.
Mhm.
So their powers, the way that they, the way that their bodies or their minds were altered, is probably very similar.
Yep.
So it kind of makes sense. I mean, maybe it's not just Akira that whose awakening was like accelerated as a result of Tetsuo's presence. It could be that the reason Tetsuo is looking for him is because he senses Akira.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because Tetsuo is not even he's not exactly human at this point. Like he's capable of way more, and he probably like all of his senses have been sharpened
Yep.
to an inhuman degree. So this whole time, it's possible that he's sensed like an enormous power source or a huge looming presence underneath the city somewhere,
Mhm. I
and
like
that's
the
why he
fact.
wanted to get Akira out.
Yeah, I like the fact that they heightened that skilled sense of hearing from him from the chapter before this, where several doctors talking about Akira in different room, and he just like he hear it straight away.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Remember, like yeah, like they talking in different room, and he just uh like he's lying in the bed, and he said like Akira, who is
Oh,
Akira.
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess he's got super hearing.
Yeah,
He probably has X-ray vision, or at least Otomo could write it in if he feels like it. If he needs the plot, if he needs Tetsuo to see something behind a wall for the plot to work, he could
yeah,
just be like, "Bam, X-ray vision." He's a super psychic. Just believe me, guys.
yep. All
Could be
right.
the same for Akira. We don't know what kind of power he has.
Yeah,
We know that
that's true.
it's huge and like dangerous and uncontrollable,
We
and
don't
can
even
destroy the world and everything, but we don't know exactly what form it takes.
yeah, we don't even know what kind of personality Akira has.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how quickly that question is answered because based on the end of chapter 11 or of volume 2, depending on which version you're reading,
Yep.
there, Kei has got him now. It's not Tetsuo who's going to walk away from the situation with Akira as his like partner in crime. It's probably Kaneda and Kei who are going to have like bring him back to the resistance base or something. At the very least, he's not in Tetsuo's hands.
Yep.
So you got to figure that what we would see of his personality would differ based on who he was around.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like if he were to pal around with Tetsuo, he would probably be like, "Oh yeah, so we can just use our psychic powers however we want. We can just kill people. That's all right." Probably going to be a little bit less of that if he's around the Resistance
Mm-hmm.
and Kei and Kaneda and whomever else. So
Yeah.
we may see one side of him in volume 3, and he like may strike out on his own or get kidnapped, captured, whatever, and then we'll see a different version of him in the future.
Yep. Yep.
He's still even though he did come out of his little frozen chamber way earlier than I anticipated. He is still the biggest question mark in the
Yep, yep,
series.
yep. I agree, and I think the whole of Akira's success gonna lie on him as well. Based on the fact that he's an important figure to the point that the manga named after him, and they make it no secret that the awakening of him gonna change everything. Like there is like a point of no return now.
Yeah, I still think it's. I mean, it's if it were actually the point of no return, the manga would be over,
That's
right? So
true.
there's
Yep.
a point of some return, or at least a point of like divergence or
Yep.
something like that. Um, he's not going to just blow everybody up,
Yep.
blow up Japan, blow up the Earth yet.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know how you maintain that tension now that he's out and about.
Mhm.
How many more scenes can you have where characters are like predicting the destruction of human civilization when he's the guy who's supposed to be the one who does that is free.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
We did it.
Yep. So
Volume 2 complete.
that quick. That's quicker than I thought. But yeah, I we see you back in the end. In the entirety of Volume 3, which will be in a month from now, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe even as soon as like 3 weeks.
Mhm.
I think that's when the next Akiracast episode will go up, and then after that point, we'll
We will
go on
see.
hiatus,
Yep.
take Christmas and New Year's off, and then we'll come back with anime of the year,
Yep.
winter 2023, all that good stuff.
All right. Really looking forward to that.
Yep, it's not too far away. I
Yep.
guess we will see you then.
Right. See you soon then.